Investment. Let's be honest, most people think they're bad with money, but the truth is, it's not that they're bad, it's that they're making simple mistakes that keep them broke. And the first mistake, ignoring the basics of budgeting. Too many people think a budget is a spreadsheet full of numbers they'll never follow. They tell themselves, I'll figure it out later, but later never comes. The problem is, without a clear understanding of how much you earn, investment, how much you spend, and what your goals are, money just disappears. You wake up at the end of the month staring at an empty bank account, wondering where it all went. The fix is simple but requires discipline. Track every dollar, understand your income versus expenses, and make your money work for you instead of just letting it vanish. When you know exactly where your money is going, suddenly opportunities to save and invest appear, almost like magic. The second mistake is spending more than you earn. This might seem obvious, but lifestyle inflation is sneaky. That new phone, that expensive coffee habit, investment, or constantly trying to match friends' spending habits can quietly drain your bank account. Most people don't realize that just a few $100s a month in unnecessary spending compounds into thousands lost over a year. The solution: spend less than you earn always. This doesn't mean depriving yourself. It means prioritizing your financial future over temporary pleasure. Small cuts in unnecessary spending consistently applied make a huge difference over time. The third mistake is neglecting an emergency fund. Life doesn't wait for you to be financially ready. A medical bill, car repair, or sudden unemployment can throw your finances into chaos. Yet many people focus on paying bills or debt and forget to build a safety net. An emergency fund isn't just nice to have, it's essential. Even starting with a few $100s can give you peace of mind and prevent small setbacks from becoming financial disasters. Protect yourself first, and everything else becomes easier to manage. Finally, investment. The fourth mistake is failing to track and adjust. Budgets aren't set it and forget it plans. Life changes, expenses change, goals change. People create a budget once, then ignore it, wondering why they're still broke. The key is consistent tracking. Review your spending weekly, identify patterns, and adjust. This habit separates people who are financially stuck from those who steadily grow wealth. A budget isn't punishment, it's freedom. Investment. It shows you what's possible when you take control. So if you want to stop living paycheck to paycheck, it's time to get serious. Track your money, control your spending, build a safety net, and adjust as you go. These aren't complicated strategies. They're simple, practical steps. And applied consistently, they turn financial frustration into confidence, giving you control, freedom, investment, and the life you've been dreaming about. Most people think budgeting is complicated, boring, or restrictive, so they avoid it entirely. They imagine sitting down with a spreadsheet, tracking every dollar, and restricting themselves from enjoying life. The reality is far simpler. Budgeting is nothing more than knowing where your money is going and making conscious decisions about it. Without a clear understanding of your income versus your expenses, investment, it's easy for money to disappear without you even noticing. You might think, I have enough to cover my bills, so I'm fine. But what about everything else? Subscriptions you forgot about, random purchases, or even small daily expenses add up quickly. This lack of clarity creates a dangerous situation where you're constantly living paycheck to paycheck. You might wonder why, despite working hard, you never seem to save or get ahead. The problem isn't your income, it's your awareness of how you use it. Tracking your money isn't about restriction, it's about empowerment. When you know exactly where every dollar goes, you gain control and can make intentional choices. For example, many people spend hundreds each month on things they don't even value or need. Seeing this on paper can be a wake-up call. Suddenly, you realize that a few small changes could free up significant cash flow. Investment. Budgeting allows you to plan for both short-term needs and long-term goals. It helps you allocate funds for essentials, savings, investments, and even fun without feeling guilty. One of the biggest mistakes is thinking that budgeting is just about cutting spending. In reality, it's about creating a system that aligns with your priorities. Some people start with broad categories like housing, food, transportation, and entertainment, and then refine it over time. Others prefer digital tools or apps that automatically track spending and provide insights. The method doesn't matter as much as consistency. The key is to know your numbers and stick with them. When you start this process, it's common to feel overwhelmed or guilty about past spending habits. Don't let that discourage you. Every step you take toward understanding your finances builds confidence and creates momentum. Over time, investment, you'll notice patterns that were invisible before. Perhaps you're spending too much on dining out, or maybe you're overpaying for subscriptions you rarely use. Identifying these areas is the first step to freeing up money for what really matters. Moreover, budgeting isn't a one-time task. Life changes, expenses fluctuate, income increases or decreases, priorities shift. The beauty of budgeting is that it can adapt with you. The more accurate and honest you are in tracking your finances, the more powerful it becomes. People who master this habit consistently find that money stops being a source of stress and becomes a tool to achieve their goals. They can save, invest, and even splurge strategically without guilt. It's about control awareness and making conscious choices instead of reacting to circumstances. The sooner you embrace this practice, the faster you can break free from financial uncertainty, avoid unnecessary stress, and create a path toward real financial stability and freedom. Overspending is one of the most common reasons people struggle financially, yet it's often overlooked because it doesn't always feel urgent. Buying things on impulse, upgrading lifestyle choices without thinking, or trying to keep up with others creates a silent drain on your bank account. A new gadget, fancy coffee every day, or dining out more than necessary might seem small individually, but over time, these habits add up to thousands of dollars wasted annually. Many people assume that if they make more money, these expenses won't matter, but the truth is that without control, lifestyle inflation will always catch up. Every extra dollar earned tends to get absorbed into a higher standard of living rather than being saved or invested. Breaking this cycle starts with awareness. The first step is knowing exactly what you spend on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. Tracking your expenses reveals patterns you might not have noticed, like subscriptions you rarely use or recurring purchases that offer little value. Once you can see the problem, the next step is creating limits. This doesn't mean depriving yourself of everything you enjoy, but it does mean prioritizing spending that aligns with your goals. For example, instead of buying an expensive coffee every day, consider brewing your own or limiting dining out to special occasions. These small adjustments free up money for savings, debt repayment, or investments. Another critical part is separating wants from needs. Needs cover essentials like rent, utilities, groceries, and insurance, while wants are optional expenses that often lead to financial strain when left unchecked. Learning to make intentional decisions about wants helps prevent overspending and builds discipline. Setting up a monthly budget with allocated limits for discretionary spending is an effective tool. You can enjoy your money without guilt while staying on track toward your financial goals. Impulse purchases are often emotional reactions, so developing habits like waiting 24 hours before making non-essential purchases can reduce regret and wasted money. Over time, controlling spending creates a snowball effect, less financial stress, more savings, and more opportunities to investment. People who master this habit often realize that cutting back on unnecessary spending doesn't feel restrictive, but rather empowering. It allows you to use your money as a tool for building wealth rather than letting it control you. By consistently spending less than you earn, you gain financial freedom, stability, and the ability to focus on long-term goals. One of the biggest mistakes people make is neglecting an emergency fund, and it's a problem that can derail even the best financial plans. Life is unpredictable, cars break down, appliances fail, medical bills appear, and unexpected job changes happen. Without a safety net, these events can push someone deep into debt or force them to sacrifice essential spending. Many people assume emergencies are rare or that they can rely on credit cards when problems arise, but this mindset often creates more stress and financial instability. The purpose of an emergency fund is simple: to provide a cushion that allows you to handle life's surprises without derailing your financial progress. It doesn't have to be massive at first. Starting with even a few $100s in a separate account can make a huge difference. It's about creating a buffer that gives you peace of mind and protects your daily life from chaos. Building this fund requires discipline, consistency, and prioritization. It might mean temporarily reducing discretionary spending, pausing non-essential purchases, or allocating a percentage of each paycheck directly into your emergency savings. The key is treating it as a non-negotiable expense, just like rent or utilities. Over time, that small, consistent effort grows into a meaningful financial shield. People who fail to create this buffer often find themselves making reactive decisions, borrowing at high interest rates, delaying bills, or sacrificing important goals, which only compounds the problem. On the other hand, those with a solid emergency fund can handle setbacks with confidence, knowing they won't be thrown off course. Another advantage is the psychological benefit. Knowing that unexpected expenses won't ruin your finances reduces stress, anxiety, and the feeling of constantly living on the edge. This clarity also allows you to make better long-term financial decisions, like investing, saving for retirement, or pursuing opportunities without fear. It's not just about money. It's about control, security, and freedom. An emergency fund is a foundational step in building financial stability. It's the difference between being reactive and proactive, between living paycheck to paycheck and having a structured plan. By prioritizing this habit, you protect yourself from common financial pitfalls, reduce reliance on debt, and create a strong foundation for future wealth. Starting small, staying consistent, investment, and treating it as an essential part of your budget ensures that when life inevitably throws a curveball, you're prepared, confident, and able to navigate it without compromising your financial goals. Investment. Many people create a budget once and then forget about it, thinking that simply writing down numbers will magically solve their financial problems. The truth is, budgets are living tools that require constant attention and adjustment. Life changes constantly, income fluctuates, bills increase, priorities shift, and a static plan can quickly become irrelevant. Failing to track and adjust is one of the biggest reasons people remain stuck financially despite their best intentions. Tracking spending is the foundation of this process. When you review your expenses regularly, patterns emerge. You start to see where money is leaking, which categories are consistently over budget, and which areas have room for improvement. This awareness allows you to make informed decisions rather than reacting emotionally to financial challenges. Investment. Simply knowing where your money goes gives you control and prevents surprises at the end of the month. Adjusting the budget is equally important. Life isn't static, and neither should your financial plan be. If you receive a raise, it's an opportunity to allocate extra funds towards savings, debt repayment, or investments rather than increasing lifestyle spending automatically. If unexpected expenses arise, investment adjusting other categories can prevent overspending and keep you on track. Many people fail because they view a budget as a rigid set of rules rather than a flexible strategy for managing money. Consistency is key. Reviewing your budget weekly or monthly, making necessary tweaks, and setting realistic goals ensures that your plan remains aligned with your current circumstances. Over time, this habit builds discipline, accountability, and confidence. It also helps combat lifestyle inflation, the subtle tendency to spend more as income grows. By actively monitoring your spending and making adjustments, you create a system that prioritizes long-term financial stability over short-term gratification. Additionally, tracking and adjusting allows for better decision-making regarding savings and investments. You can identify extra funds to allocate toward high-priority goals like building an emergency fund, paying off debt, or investing for the future. Investment. People who master this habit often find that managing money becomes less stressful and more intentional. They no longer feel like they're constantly behind or wondering where their paycheck went. Instead, they have a clear picture of their finances, can make confident choices, and steadily move toward financial freedom. Budgeting is not a one-time activity. It's a continuous process of monitoring, learning, and optimizing. Those who embrace it consistently enjoy greater control, less financial stress, and a stronger foundation for long-term wealth and security.